Welcome to our Maths My Way webinar. Thank you for joining us this evening. I know that a lot of people are in that kind of book list decision space at the moment, so I hope that you find this useful, particularly when you're facing into a new curriculum and all that that brings. So I hope that you'll find Maths My Way I can help you with that implementation of the new curriculum in your classroom. So I'm joined this evening by Patrick Neary, who is the series editor of Maths My Way and author of First and Second Class, and Elaine Dillon, who is the author of Senior Infants. And Patrick and Elaine are going to take you through the programme, a little bit about why we've created it and how it should help you to implement the new curriculum in your classrooms. At the end, then we'll come in for a little Q&A, and I will give you some details on how you can get samples, some of the other things we have available to go to help you with the implementation of the curriculum, and also I'll explain how you can get your yearbooks for attending the webinar tonight with us. So as we go through the presentation this evening, please do use the chat function to drop in any questions you have. I'll be in there answering things as we go, and then I will put questions to Patrick and Elaine at the end as well. So just before I hand over to Patrick and Elaine, just to give you a little overview of what the programme itself looks like and what's included in it. You have your student books for junior infants all the way up to second class, as well as number practice books for infants. We have teaching slides, which are really a brilliant way to present maths lessons in your classroom. You'll see some examples of that now from Patrick and Elaine, as well as a whole suite of digital resources, teachers' guides with all your planning in there, and printables as well. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Patrick, and he's going to take you through the programme.
Thanks a million, Ciara. Just bear with me for one moment while I get the slides going. So everyone should be able to see that now, hopefully.
Yeah, we can see the first slide there, Patrick. There we go.
Yeah. So to start off, thank you everyone for attending this evening. It's great to see so many people here tonight, and I hope you enjoy the presentation. So just to begin, I'm going to briefly chat about why we created Maths My Way. So I've been studying maths teaching and how children learn maths for a good number of years now. And for me, the lessons that I love are ones where children collaborate together, where there's a challenge in the lesson for every student, and when there's creativity. So when children are able to discuss their thinking, think about the problem in different ways, and have the freedom to record their solutions in their preferred way. It's been a huge pleasure to work with Ciara and with the other authors and the amazing team at Folens to help make this vision a reality with Maths My Way. So just to begin, I'd like to set the scene a little bit in terms of the major international assessments that we take part in as a country. So you see TIMSS and PISA there, and some of you might have had TIMSS in your school last year, I think it was, for the next round of the TIMSS result. So both of these studies paint a positive picture of maths education in Ireland. We're still waiting for the TIMSS 2023 results, but in the 2019 study, you can see here that our fourth class students performed relatively high compared to other countries. 7 countries performed significantly above us, 4 countries were similar to us, and 46 performed significantly below Ireland. This is important, I think, in terms of a new curriculum, because sometimes when we hear a new curriculum, we think, oh, everything we're doing is wrong and now we have to change everything. But that's definitely not the case. And it is important to take a moment to really commend our colleagues, all of the hardworking teachers around the country, and everyone here tonight on the progress that we're making. like schools face many challenges, and the commitment of teachers to providing high quality teaching and learning is very evident in these results. We've a huge amount of experience in this country to draw on, and that's going to be a huge asset to us with the new curriculum. The 2019 results did highlight two areas that we can work on. So in particular in Ireland, our higher achieving students perform less well compared to their peers in other countries. And this suggests that we could further stretch these students. Secondly, then the area of geometry was identified as an area of relative weakness for our students. So these are two areas that we paid particular focus to when we were developing Maths My Way. In the context then of the new curriculum, it's really important for us to keep doing what's working well for us and for our students, and to incorporate the new practices and approaches to further enhance teaching and learning. All of the Maths My Way authors have huge expertise in the area of maths education. The first research reports for this curriculum were published back in 2014. And this and what's followed have definitely shaped my understanding of how best to teach and learn maths. So while it's a new curriculum, there's a huge amount of work that's been going on in the background, and a huge amount of people studying those reports and using those reports. So even though it's a new curriculum, the messages of that curriculum have been out for a long time. As an authoring team, we are here to support you, to support teachers in bringing this curriculum to life. And throughout the authoring process, the material that we wrote went through extensive teacher review. With the new curriculum, learning outcomes will now describe expected learning in maths. So they replace the traditional objectives that you'd be used to. And learning outcomes are broad and describe learning across a 2-year band. So it's quite a change. In the curriculum, these learning outcomes are foregrounded in the sentence STEM through appropriately playful and engaging learning experiences. And this sentence STEM was really important to us in writing Maths My Way. I just want to mention here that playful and engaging doesn't just relate to games or what we might describe as fun maths, but it also relates to rich tasks, problems, challenges that really engage children and that grab their attention. The aim of one of the aims of the curriculum is to help children to see the beauty, the challenge, and the power of maths. And I think that can all be captured in that sentence. The new curriculum highlights that how children learn maths is just as important as what they learn. And there are 4 elements in the curriculum: understanding and connecting, reasoning, communicating, and applying and problem solving. These focus on how children should learn maths and are central to maths learning. In the previous curriculum, you'd be familiar with the page of skills that is at the start of each year group. These are similar to the elements, but everything is now foregrounded in these elements. So they're front and center with the new curriculum. You'll see a huge emphasis on reasoning and on applying and problem solving. And this will be part of all maths lessons. The new curriculum also highlights these 5 key pedagogical practices. And these inform how the decisions teachers make during everyday maths lessons. These are practices that they hope will become daily routines in maths lessons. And they're central to Maths My Way. These practices are interconnected, they work hand in hand, and they cannot be isolated from each other. We've designed Maths My Way with engaging learning experiences to reflect the interconnectedness of these practices. So, for example, you won't see a page in our book that's just about using cognitively challenging tasks, because when the children are engaging in these tasks, they're also engaging in maths talk. We're hoping to foster the productive disposition And as they solve the problems in different ways, they're engaging in mathematical modelling. They're all happening hand in hand. In light of the TIMSS results that we mentioned earlier, during maths lessons. Including this will not only help our higher achieving students, but it'll help all of our students. So next we're going to look at some of the components of Maths My Way, and we're going to start with Elaine and some of the components of the infant programme.
Thanks, Patrick. So I'm going to take you through the infants, and then we'll switch over to Patrick again, who'll take you through the first and second components. So what we're going to look at is the teaching slides. So something we greatly valued was the role of play in children's mathematical learning. So when we were developing Maths My Way, we wanted to reduce the reliance on the books to allow for more play, while still providing a structure that teachers could easily build upon, that it's flexible and was something that could suit them and their class. And we had so many great ideas, and we really didn't want to bury them in a teacher's book that simply we don't have time to be reading. So what we decided to do was create teaching slides. So the teaching slides contain content that you might traditionally find in a student book or in a teacher's manual, and they're designed for the interactive whiteboard. And what they have is that we are using that content that you traditionally find in your student book or your teacher's guide, placed into slides, but trying to make the most of the interactivity and flexibility that the slides offer us. And we take a little closer look at the slides now, and I think that'll come up for you now in a second, is the slides will anchor each lesson, and it provides a learning pathway that links hands-on learning, digital resources, and book content. So when you have a look at these slides, there is one set of slides for each lesson with a clear learning focus that is linked to the learning outcomes of the primary mathematical curriculum. And then there's a handy reference guide for the concrete material then that you might need in order for you to teach that lesson. And then the idea of the slides that they are full of ideas for playful and engaging learning experiences. For example, this one, a dice game. This is an example of an open-ended task, a low threshold, high ceiling task. Then we also have lots of lovely other activities then that contain stimuli for discussion. So the next one you'll see here now is where can you find 5? It talks about using your math size, really trying to get the children talking about maths that's all around them, making them real world connections. And then we have lots of lovely prompts for maths talks. Here we using the ideas of using your math size to look at this poster, get the children to talk about what they see. And then all of these are used to support development of maths language. Here's a lovely another example of odd one out activity. So lots of lovely prompts for the kids to describe what they're seeing, really get their thinking visible to us as teachers. And the idea about these slides, then we also have I suppose, models to scaffold learning, and these are really provide models for children to explore. There's lots of these lovely examples throughout the book. They really break things up for the kids to be able to see and then be able to explore it then using hands-on concrete material. I just would also like to point out to you, on this slide, you might have seen it in a few of the other slides, there is a link here to says use Polypad to explore. And the idea of what that is that it will launch you on to Polypad, and Patrick will explain a little bit more about this. This is formerly known as Mathagon, and the idea is then is you'll be able as a teacher to extend that and take the learning where the children want to take it, what their examples, and you'll be able to model that for them or get the children up to model it for you. All right, Patrick, back to you.
Great, thanks. Yeah, so the teaching slides in first and second class are very similar to infants. And like in infants, they anchor each lesson and provide that pathway that helps guide the children towards achieving the learning outcome. And again, as we said, the learning outcome is over 2 years, and some learning outcomes might be over a number of units in the book, but it's towards achieving that outcome over the length of time. This approach of having everything anchored in teaching slides is unique to Maths My Way. And we designed it for our students and for teachers. For students, as Elaine said, it means that our textbook pages are less busy. And they're way more inviting because a lot of the content that used to be squashed onto the pages is now on the slides instead. Things like maths talk prompts, worked examples, strategies, teaching points, all of those things are placed as front of class material on the slides. And this allows us to provide large and inviting workspaces in our student books. It also means that if there's something coming up in a lesson that, you know, traditionally might have been on a book page, but maybe you don't want the children to see it until halfway through the lesson or until tomorrow's lesson, that they don't see it until you want them to. For teachers, when you open up your lesson slides, you are ready to go. Our author team is made up of teachers, and we know how busy classrooms are, and we know just how busy all of you are. You won't always have time to read a long lesson plan before your lesson. And with Maths My Way, the slides are there to guide you through the lesson in real time. Putting some activities on the slides and not in the book also gives you flexibility. You have that agency to adapt lessons either in advance or as you go, to supplement with extra activities or to change lessons to suit the needs of the children in your class. So just going to have a quick look at a couple of the slides. So the opening slide is just as Elaine explained. You have your focus, your strand unit, your curriculum information, and the resources that are suggested for this lesson. With the suggested resources, you also have the option of using digital resources in some cases, and sometimes, like if we suggest counting equipment, we might suggest counters. But if you have a load of cubes in your classroom, obviously feel free to use those as well. So then the videos or the slides contain videos such as the one you can see here, and these are great for developing mathematical language. So instead of just providing a picture or an explanation, the terminology can be explained with real life videos as well. We have a huge amount of playful, engaging, hands-on activities in first and second class as well. So in this one, the children are asked to fold square in half in as many different ways as they can. We have our Maths Talk prompts, the same as in infants, and they're used throughout the slides to encourage students to share their ideas, their reasoning, and the different strategies that they have. And again, it's all supplemented with animations to really make it engaging for children. The slides are also great for scaffolding learning and demonstrating different models for the children. So in this lesson, the children were adding 36 and 27, and partitioning is demonstrated with a number line. And again, if we put this into the book, it would have just taken up so much space, meaning that the children wouldn't have space to record their ideas. When we put them on the slides as well, they can also be more interactive, and we have the links to the Polypad, as Elaine mentioned earlier. That means you can show different examples with Polypad on the interactive whiteboard, and everything is set up for you. So you're not there like I'm sure we've all been there, where you're trying to draw something freehand on the whiteboard, maybe a number line, maybe a circle, and it just is going, it's just a disaster. It just doesn't work. So with Maths My Way, everything is there set up for you. There'll be the Polypad links when you need them, and it just means you're ready to go. Here's another example of the Polypad embedded into the slides. So in this example, you see that they're sharing marbles, but our marbles can be added, they can be moved around, they can be deleted. So you can change the question, and you can get a huge, there's huge scope for extending the activities and loads of different opportunities with it. Finally, then each lesson also has an extension activity. And this is back to what we were saying about really challenging every student in our class. So rather than just busy work or more of the same type of activity, every lesson has an extension, and this is the chance to ensure that every child in our class is challenged. So now, after that we've seen some of the slides, we'll get into the book, and again we'll start with infants.
Okay, so when we were developing Maths My Way for infants, play was at the core of every decision. It was something I'm very, very passionate about, and it was something that I wanted to make sure that we had the time to really allow the children to play with the mathematics. And when you talk to any teacher, and we talk about how implementing anything, time is so precious to us. And so when we were designing these books, we really wanted to make sure that we afforded that time for children to have that hands-on learning experience. So therefore, we provided just 2 pages per week for junior infants and 2 to 4 pages for senior infants, so that more time could be spent on hands-on learning experiences. And the pages we have created they provide carefully considered opportunities for practice and consolidation of opportunities for the children in the infant classrooms. There is freedom and there's flexibility for you as a teacher to use the student books in the way that best suits your needs of the class. We will give you a suggestion of where this page of the book might fit into your lessons and the slides, but of course it's completely it's your freedom to use it where you would like. The pages are designed to be open-ended. There's lots of different types of engaging opportunities for the children, and this particular one is a pattern page where, you know, we could have just simply said copy the patterns, but we really want the children to explore and create and see where they're going to take their learning. Some of them will simply do an A-B pattern for you the whole way, red, blue, red, blue, red, blue, you know, and other children might be able to start to see, they might be able to do an ABC pattern, like a red, blue, yellow pattern, or, you know, they might get more fancier, red, red, blue, red, red, blue. Just showing you all the different types of patterns you can, and then you can use that as a little discussion forum between the groups. Like, can you see any similarities between your book and your friend's book? What's different? What's the same? And it's just a lovely springboard into even more maths discussion that we can have in our classroom. Some of the other pages then, if we look through the book, this page is a money page in the infants, and it is open-ended on purpose, because like that, I know I'm doing money at the minute with my class, and they have all different interests, and lots of them are at different levels in terms of what they're working with and their coins, and it leaves it there for you as the teacher to guide that learning, and a really lovely way to get the children to buy in and be like, okay, we're going to design our shop and it's your prices, and your friends are going to come to your shop to buy things, and it really just takes on a life of itself. And then, you know, they're using their coins or whatever material you have available for them to buy things from their shop. We do have traditional style pages too, like these ones, to really consolidate the key concepts like addition and lots of other different counting strategies. And if you move on to the next one there, Patrick, will see other ideas as well as like real life like experience of you're collecting data here for real life experience, and you know, they're playing a game and they're recording their data, and they're seeing who is the winner by the end of the game. And then we have little playful activities like bingo, and a lovely opportunity for you as a teacher to assess where they are at their in terms of their number formation. And this page, this is a particular page that my class this year have really enjoyed, and it looks so simple, but yet the amount of language and talk that we got from it was absolutely fantastic. And they were drawing their numbers of eyes on their little monsters. And then I said, okay, let's have a look at each other's one. I was like, okay, did Patrick, is his pictures the same as mine's? Or are they different? And then they were able to say, and how did you see 8? Some of them were saying I've said 4 and 4, you know, some of them were saying I've put 6 in the top and 2 in the bottom. So they were coming up with their own ways of how they were seeing the numbers. They were looking at what was similar, what was different. Again, it's a lovely, just a little springboard for getting the children talking about their maths. And it's building up a lovely positive disposition for them too as well in their mathematics. And another example of that idea was we're really consolidating your strategies that we're teaching them in mathematics. An example of the counting on and counting strategies. And I think if you look at the next picture, then is an example of algebra, where it's a little bit different in infants now, where they're looking at the growing and shrinking of number patterns as well in infants, so not just simply patterns by shape and color. So it's trying to make it as visual for them as possible, but also in a real meaningful way. And sometimes, like what I find is, and this is the reason why we have to provide space for play. Play is an opportunity for children to practice the things that they've been teaching. So no more times than enough, you will see then the children building these examples in play format and giving them such a real visual experience and allowing them to show it to you and then create it. It's a wonderful opportunity for them to consolidate their learning. And I think, Patrick, yes, perfect. That's another lovely example of just addition stories, getting the children to write little stories. And again, there'll be loads of more opportunities for them then to create their own addition stories. In addition to the student book, then we do have the number practice book. So the number practice book is for junior infants and senior infants. And the idea of the number practice book is it's to focus specifically on reading, writing, and understanding numbers. And it can work well both at home and at school. It's completely up to you as the teacher, how best you want to use it. It could be a lovely homeschooling, or it could be also just something that you want to do in your class to consolidate the numbers that you're working with in your class. Okay, Patrick, back over to you.
Right. Yeah. So the books in first and second class look slightly different as children's reading and writing skills developed. So quite similar, but also there's the differences as the children develop. There are 32 units in each book, with 1 unit per week. As I said, the authoring team are made up of teachers, and we know how important it is for a series to have a really clear structure that's predictable and easy to follow and easy to incorporate into our fortnightly plans. And we also know how important it is to actually be able to complete a book in a busy academic year. So those factors were integral to creating this structure. You'll also, if you look at the contents of the books together, you'll also see that like our first and our second class book are aligned really closely to support our multi-grade colleagues as well. In each unit, there are 4 core lessons. You'll see them there on your screen, and this is on the inside cover of each book. And each of these lessons has 1 book page and a set of teaching slides. And as we said, the teaching slides are the anchors. So you start each lesson with the teaching slides, and they tell you then when to go to the book page. There are also 2 practice pages at the end of each unit. So in total, there are 6 pages per unit. With the practice pages, you might decide to use them during class time for homework, or they're a great opportunity for assessment, or even some people might decide to incorporate them into the daily lessons. Here you can see the first and the second class content side by side. The colours make it really clear, just to show how first and second class align, and that really helps if you have first and second class in the same room together. The Maths My Way textbooks work hand in hand with the slides. And if you begin each lesson with the slide, it'll tell you when to move to the book. So you see there the icon on the slide where it says page 90. And the activities from the book are brought out from the book, and they're there directly on the slide as well. So that, you know, it makes sure that nothing gets missed, that it's as teacher friendly as possible. So we're going to have a quick look through some of the book pages, just to give you a flavour of what they look like, and to show really that openness, that when we've removed a lot from the book and placed it on the slides, it creates that extra space within the book. So here you see a sorting circle for the 2D shapes that, you know, we had the space to actually get that into the book. It means that for the final activity, the children can actually stick their shapes into the book, meaning you have a lovely record of their learning. So often these shape and space activities, once they're done, the shapes are all tidied up, or they're put away and it's gone. So that record is there for you. You see these open workspaces, so they're just the square grid workspaces, or sometimes there's no grids, and it's just giving that flexibility that not every child has to solve the problem in each way. Here you'll also see we have our 10 frame directly printed on the page, so that you don't have to, so that's just there for you. We have lovely data unit here where it's all about these monsters again, the same way as Elaine mentioned in the infant set. The monsters really grab the children's attention. There are games built into the book, again encouraging playful learning. And again, here you see the open problems, those grids for the children to record their record their work in the ways that suit them. So there's a huge variety of activity type, and if you haven't seen the book yet, I'd really recommend just getting in touch with your sales rep, getting samples sent out, because they've really turned out. We're as an authoring team, we're so impressed with how they've turned out with the design and everything. So do get your hands on a set of them to have a look at. Just to mention as well, Elaine, and as we pointed out at the start, how there's a lot of information at the start of each slide. But one thing we were conscious of is that, like, if I'm thinking about what I'm going to teach next week, I don't usually go online. I just flick through the books. So that curriculum information is there for you as well. So at the bottom of each page, it'll tell you the strand unit, the learning focus for the particular lesson, the set of slides that accompany it, and there's an assessment tool for the children, and there is the link, the little image of the resources that are needed. Just on the slides as well, don't feel worried that you're going to have to be, because you see that for this lesson, the slides are, I don't know, was it 28.3. Don't feel worried that you're going to have to be searching for these slides and flicking through loads of stuff online. When you open the ebook, there'll be a link on that page to the slides for that lesson. Anyone who's familiar with other Folan's programs will be familiar with that already, from maybe Oberlum or Into Music, but the link will be there for you, so it'll be very accessible. These are just then some examples of the practice pages. So after your 4 core lessons, these are the types of activities that are there to reinforce and consolidate learning. And they're more of that traditional practice that the children will be familiar with and that people expect. So next we're going to move on to then some of the digital resources that go with Maths My Way, and again we'll start with the infants.
Okay, thanks, Patrick. In addition to the teaching slides and your student book, Maths My Way also includes a lovely suite of digital resources that provide lovely stimuli, modelling and fluency practice. So we're going to take a little look at some of them a little bit closer. So we have videos to show maths in the real world. So I think this should work for us.
5 is all around us.
5. 5. 5. 5.
5 is all.
Thanks. And we also have number songs to develop number sense in a playful way. So this will be available on the slides. Oh, I don't think I can hear the volume in that, Patrick.
5 little speckled
Perfect, thank you.
bugs sat on a speckled log, eating the most delicious bugs.
Yum, yum.
One jumped into the pool where it was nice and cool. Then there were 4 green speckled frogs. Club, club.
Then we also have number formation videos to support children's writing skills. Nice visual for them. We also have lots of games to develop fluency.
Click the picture that shows 5.
We have odd one out activities for discussion to promote critical thinking. And we have lovely posters to develop math size and prompt rich discussion. Now, of course, we have questions that are here for you that you can may sample and model them with the class, but of course there may be other questions you may come up with, or the kids may come up with questions, but we're going to have a look at some of the sample of the questions that are here.
Where is the bear? Are there more purple flowers or pink flowers? Which flowers are taller, the purple flowers or the pink flowers?
And so then if the digital resources then for first and second class are quite similar to those available at infant level. So we're just going to have a quick look at a few of them now. So again, we have real life videos. So this one is for the fractions lesson in first class.
Say you want to share a pizza equally between you and a friend. How can you do this? That's right. You can cut the pizza into 2 equal parts. A half is one of 2 equal parts of a whole. Cutting in half means splitting one thing into 2 equal parts, like this. Or this.
And the reason we've included these videos is because, like, in an ideal world, we'd go out and we'd buy all of this stuff before our lesson and show it to the children. And yes, obviously everyone still can with using Maths My Way, but we've included these videos just in case maybe you don't have time to do that before your lesson, that the real life videos are there for you as a backup and to support you while you're teaching. We also have videos that model different ways of solving calculations, solving problems. This one is looking at adding 39 plus 14. And the beauty of using the videos instead of just having an example written in the book is that, you know, it goes through it step by step. You'll see the concrete resources, images of them come up on the side as well. And these videos can also be shared with parents at home. So it's a way more interactive than just printing the explanations. So just have a couple of seconds of that just to show you how it works.
Let's use the column method to solve 39 plus 14. Start by writing 39. 39 has 3 tens and 9 ones.
And just to mention as well that ones is the new terminology from the curriculum for units. So it has changed in this curriculum from units to ones. Like in infants, there's games. So this is a bingo game where you can print out your cards. You can pick the way you want the game to be set up, and it does the bingo game for you. And then at the end, you can check bingo cards by putting in the code on that card. So it makes it just more interactive and more engaging game of bingo. We have the math size posters, the same as we had with infants. So just a few of the questions here again.
What do you notice? How could you sort the gingerbread people into groups? What question would you ask about this picture?
So loads of opportunities for rich discussion here. And those questions at the end, like what questions would you ask? Really giving the children that ownership of the maths and of their learning, that, you know, they're building that productive disposition with the children. With all of our games, there's also these new QR codes. So we have this new share feature. And it means that if you have devices in your classroom, like iPads, that if you put the QR code up on the screen, children can access these games on their own devices. Or if you don't have, if it's something like Chromebooks, you can use the short link there as well. They can just type that into the browser and it'll come up. So there's a game for every unit. Anyone who previously used Planet Maths, I know the games were an extremely popular part of Planet Maths, and all of the Planet Maths games are still going to be available with Maths My Way. And they will also have this share feature. If it was me doing it in my classroom, I think I'd have a collection of these QR codes or these links, maybe as part of my maths display. Maybe it would be like a display book where you'd have them printed out and popped in. And it would mean that children would have a bank of games that they've done this year, and maybe during station teaching or during your iPad time, if that's how it works in your school, you'd have that collection of games that really reinforces everything the children have learned this year, and they can go back to them again and again to really build that confidence with the different topics. So next, we're going to have a look at Maths My Way and the primary maths curriculum.
Thanks, Patrick. So I'm going to look at encouraging playfulness. So it's one of the key 5 pedagogical practices that Patrick outlined at the very beginning. And when we were carefully designing Maths My Way to support teachers in providing playful learning experiences for every class, our teaching slides have suggestions for easy to implement playful activities that have been tried and tested with the children. The student books also prompt and support playful learning experiences, offering game suggestions, providing game boards, including space to record play where appropriate. And then the teacher notes that accompanying the programme will support teachers in scaffolding children's mathematical learning as they engage in these playful experiences. These experiences provide opportunities to develop a wide range of mathematical skills like reasoning, arguing, justifying, problem solving, and communicating. And they really support children's evolving understanding of mathematical concepts and mathematical language. They have a real potential to deepen children's mathematical understanding and develop their productive disposition towards maths, which is one of the other key 5 pedagogical practices of the primary mathematical curriculum.
Great. As mentioned at the start, using cognitively challenging tasks is so important for our students. And when we designed this program, we designed it with problem solving at its core. And we've used rich tasks throughout the program to challenge students at their own level. Mathematical modeling is one of the buzzwords of this curriculum that I'm sure everyone's heard on their closure day if you've had it yet. And it's another one of the pedagogical practices. And it's kind of it just refers to children making sense of maths in a way that makes sense to them. So that's why you'll see workspaces like this in Maths My Way, that there's space for children to draw if that's how they think it's appropriate for them to solve this problem. They could use numbers. They could, they could use manipulatives and find a way of recording it. So there's huge flexibility there for children to model maths in ways that make sense to them. It's really important that all students experience success in the maths classroom. And sometimes when we say cognitively challenging tasks or problem solving, there's that maybe a little bit of reluctance because, oh, what about the child who just doesn't get it? And that's why we've scaffolded it with open-ended tasks, low entry, high ceiling tasks, so that every child can work on these tasks and every child can experience success. Having the workspaces like this as well means that every child's effort is valued, that the child who drew the picture and solved it doing it that way, their success is just as important as the child who solved it by writing number sentences or by using maybe the column method to add the numbers together. There are many different types of tasks, some of which I mentioned or already used throughout the programme, and open-ended tasks are one example. These are tasks that have many different solutions. And with tasks like this, language and reading becomes less of a barrier than it would with a traditional word problem. So with a traditional page of word problems, the child has to read every single problem and understand it and solve each one separately. Whereas with an open-ended task, the problem is probably read as a whole class, first of all, and then the children work on that task for a sustained period of time. It means that instead of maybe meeting the barrier of reading, that once they understand the problem, they can work through it to find many different answers, and there's that scope then to maybe look for patterns or to extend the learning and find maybe all solutions. So it's about going deeper into the problems rather than solving many problems. The next type of task we have is a low entry, high ceiling task. We've used these throughout Maths My Way. Similar to the open-ended tasks, children would work on these for a sustained period of time. So it's not a quick task. It's one that like that they'd be working on it for a while. With these tasks, every child should be able to get started, but they're also designed so that every child should also be able to get stuck, or that every child will be challenged. There's an example there from our 3D shape unit with bolts, where the children are constructing Bolt's house out of different construction materials. And here, every child will be able to make a house for Bolt, but some will be much more elaborate than others, and some might include more 3D shapes than others. And some of the children, then as part in the student book, the children are asked to draw the front of the house and to draw the side of the house. And again, some children will draw these much more accurately than others. But the important thing is that every child has participated, every child has engaged fully at their level, and everyone's success is valued in their record of our learning. And putting these activities making these spaces available in the book provides you with an invaluable record of the children's learning, and an excellent formative assessment record for you. So next, we're going to look at Maths Talk.
Okay, so Maths Talk, as authors, this is something we highly value, the role of Maths Talk and how it plays in equipping children with tools to make their thinking visible. So when we were writing Maths My Way, we placed great focus on designing the rich tasks and the playful activities that promote children's mathematical talk. And then what we did then was we added Maths Talk prompts to the teaching slides for each lesson to really help get discussions started and to support classes and making Maths Talk a part of the routine of every maths lesson. So really trying to, I suppose, develop and establish a culture of Maths Talk in our classrooms. And what we also then was we provided further suggestions and guidance for teachers in the accompanying teacher notes to scaffold children's Maths Talk. So there's lots of examples on our slides and then on our and in our teaching notes to really encourage children to talk about maths. And by doing that, then we're getting their thinking made visible, talking about all of the different types of cognitively challenging tasks that we have in our books and all of the playful experiences. There's so many opportunities for children then to talk and share their maths experience. And through that, there's lots of learning for us as teachers, and there's lots of learning for children between their peers on how others are doing it. Okay, back to you, Patrick.
Yep. So then just to look at some of the strategies we've included in Maths My Way to support number sense and mathematical proficiency. So mathematical proficiency is the overall aim of the curriculum, and we know that number sense and developing children's number sense is so important, that it's not just about learning things off, but developing that skill of number sense. So you'll see some of the different supports we've included throughout to help develop number sense. We've used part wall models, number lines, 10 frames, and the open workspaces to really help children to develop that number sense. So just going to have a look then at some of the supports that are included for planning and assessment.
Okay, so to support teachers in using the Maths My Way programme and make it as easy as we possibly do to complete your recorded preparation, we have designed planning and assessment materials that are concise, they're teacher friendly, and they can be edited. I think that's a very important line there, and they are all very clearly aligned with the curriculum. So if we look a little bit closer, there's a unit plan for every unit that's outlined, and it shows you how it is mapped to the primary mathematical curriculum, showing you the learning outcomes, and then it shows you the mathematical concepts. Then it gives you an idea of some of the key mathematical language that may be explored in that unit. It also has a look at prior knowledge. So what is the knowledge that children need in order to participate with this lesson to get the most out of it? And then there's an idea of the potential misconceptions are also clearly stated. So giving you a little idea of what kind of errors children might make in this particular unit of work. There is a suggested overview. Shows you at a glance the focus of new learning. So as Patrick and myself outlined earlier, every slide and every lesson has a focus of new learning that is related to the learning outcome. And then in this overview, it shows you the teaching slides and the student book pages that can use to support the learning. This is an example from first and second class, so you can see it clearly shows you the slides and the book page. Something similar for infants, though we just don't have a book page for every day. And we also then you have that it is a suggested within the infants. And then it also gives you an idea of the concrete resources that you may need in order to implement that lesson into your classroom. And again, these are these I suppose are a really quick guide for you. And if you don't have them, I'm sure you have other things in your classroom that you can I suppose mix around with. There's also then a 1 page for each lesson with teaching notes to support the learning experiences that the lesson provides. And it gives you a kind of idea of the anticipated student responses, especially in the first and second class, what kind of the things are you anticipate the student might come away with. And then there's also support for key questions and maths talk, and then of course differentiation, which gives you a little idea of how to support your struggling or your advanced learners. And then there's also an idea for additional hands-on activities and games, so that we have other activities for you to use. So we do give you an example of ones that you can use in your slides, but then if you need more, or if depending on how you set up your maths class, whether it's station teaching or team teaching or whatever type of maths experience is going on, there is other examples of games that will consolidate that learning focus that is in that particular lesson. We're going to look now at a fortnightly plan. So there's also a full set of fortnightly plans for every level. And these provide all the key information that are required for your recorded preparation. So they include your learning outcomes, mathematical concepts, mathematical language. They give you an overview of the focus of new learning. They show you some of the learning experiences. They give you an idea of linkage and integration, differentiation, and assessments. And these can be edited, just like I mentioned earlier about our other plans. They can be edited so that you can alter them that suit you and your planning needs. And I think that's what a key message to get across, that these plans can be edited and you can alter them and change them to suit your needs in your classroom. So assessment now, as we're aware, assessment of mathematical learning occurs on a continuum. So much of the assessment that we gather will be informal. And Maths My Way is really designed in order to create rich mathematical moments in the classroom, which provides us as the teacher opportunities to use various assessment tools to really gain a deeper insight into the children's level of understanding and thinking. And then these insights then best place us as the teacher to guide the children's learning forward. In the unit plans, you will find support for using those rich mathematical moments for assessment. For example, there's high quality questions that have been crafted, and they're open-ended, they're well crafted, and they relate to the focus of learning. So they're not just generic questions, they're related to whatever the focus of learning that is in that particular lesson unit. And then to support the more formal assessment events, we do have printable assessments. These can be edited too, so that they can be adapted to the needs of the individual students in your class and whatever stage you are at, and the children are at in their own mathematical learning journey.
Lovely, thanks, Elaine. It's just very briefly, I know people are very eager to know about 3rd to 6th class as well. So just to briefly speak about it and let you all know that work is already underway for Maths My Way 3rd to 6th class, which will be launching in 2025. Our author team we're really busy working after school, working on these books and designing exciting and engaging units for the senior classrooms. And we really can't wait to share that with you this time next year. Everything we've spoken about, particularly I guess for 1st and 2nd class, will continue into the senior end, with obviously slight changes to make it suitable for those class levels. So for example, we know that in the senior classes, children don't write in their books, whereas in the junior classes, they do. So in the meantime, while you're waiting, we do have a series that is out at the minute that goes from 1st class to 6th class. Elaine and I and one of the other Maths My Way authors, Grace Lynch, worked on my problem solving journal, and it's available. There's samples out there, so if you're looking for something to support you with the new curriculum, it is there. We wrote this in advance help prepare teachers for the new curriculum when it was coming. But as I mentioned at the start, the research that's behind that curriculum and the draft curriculum have been out for a good length of time. So that's what we would have used to inform the writing of my problem solving journal. So it all the things you'd expect, the cognitively challenging tasks, the maths talk, the opportunities for modeling, they're all there in my problem solving journal for you. With my problem solving journal, that's designed as a lesson per week. So whichever topic you're working on in whichever book you're using, there's a problem solving unit to go with that. And the pages are designed as 2 pages per lesson, again with those big open workspaces to really encourage mathematical modeling. So we hope that you and your students enjoy using Maths My Way or enjoy using Problem Solving Journal, and we look forward then to sharing the senior end with you hopefully this time next year. Thanks a million. I'll pass back to Kira now.
Turn my mic back on. Thank you, Patrick and Elaine. That was brilliant to get an oversight of the programme or overview of the programme. I've been flat out in the chat talking to people. Thank you for all your participation in the chat. Do continue to drop some questions in there now if there's anything that you hasn't already been asked, and I'll put some questions to Elaine and Patrick. But just before I do that, I was just going to take you through some bits that I want to cover here at the end. So let me just get my slides back up and running. I just need to, sorry, but you're getting a recap of some of what Patrick covered there. Technology is never straightforward, is it? Okay, Patrick or Elaine, you might give me the thumbs up there that you're seeing the right slide. The try Maths My Way. Yeah, great, thank you. It's always the difficulty coming back on and jumping in somewhere else. So what I just wanted to say was that obviously Patrick and Elaine have given a brilliant insight there, but there's only so much that we can do in an hour. And we don't want to keep you here all night. So definitely, if you can, get on and have a look at the resources yourselves. There's only so much you can tell from kind of looking at snippets of it. Really, the value in this program will come to life when you look at it and use it with your class if you can. I know lots of teachers have been trying out bits and pieces from it with their classes over the last couple of weeks, and the feedback's been brilliant. Just they've been amazed at how well the program has gone down, because I think the real beauty in it is when you actually use it and see how well thought out it is and how well children will respond to it. So if you do want to have a look at it, there's 2 ways you can do that online. So you can go on to folens.ie, just type in Maths My Way or go search through the books and programs, you'll see it there. And you've got sample resources up there which you can have a look at. You don't need to sign in, you don't need to do anything, they're just there ready to go, and you can have a look and try them with your class. Or if you do have a Folens online account and you're in there using your Oberlum or your Starlight or any of those programs, there is now a little Maths My Way tile up on Folens online. Everybody should have access to that now, so you can just click in there, click your class level, and the samples are in there as well for you to use. So you can go in, check it out, try it with your class, check out the planning, just get stuck into it. It's really the best way to have a look through the program and get a feel for it. That does include some new samples as well. So if anyone was in a couple of weeks ago having a look, you would have seen a lot of number content up there, and a lot of what Patrick and Elaine have shown you tonight is number content, but there's now some shape and space examples up there as well. So there's 2D shapes lessons for junior infants up there, and we also have some transformations lessons for first class up there, which is a nice topic to go in and take a look at because it is one of the new strand units for first class in the new curriculum. So it's nice to see how you might go about teaching that and the supports that are there for you. So definitely go in and have a look at those. Also just want to touch on concrete resources. We've had some people in the chat this evening asking about concrete resources. Ever since we launched the program, that has been a topic that has come up. People asking about where they could best get concrete resources, what concrete resources they should get to go with the program. I know a lot of people are probably doing an audit on the concrete resources that they have available in their schools ahead of next year. So just to say, there are lists of concrete resources available to go with the program. So a full list of what you would need for first class, second class and infants to go with our program, just what we've suggested. And if you do need to top up any of your resources, we are now providing resources as well. So we've partnered up with a company who make lovely, really high quality maths resources, and we are selling them in a pick and choose choose, pick and mix way so that you can have a look, do your audit, see what you have available, and then whatever any gaps you need to fill, you can order them from us if you wish. And we are offering 15% off for our Maths My Way customers and our My Problem Solving Journal customers. That was until the 31st of May, which actually I realise is this Friday. So you might want to get in quickly if you are want to get that offer. So do get in touch with your local sales rep before the weekend if you want to get set up for that. I think they'll probably give you some leeway on getting your order in if you just get in touch with them to say that you're interested in it. And just to say as well, we do have another offer running for Maths My Way whiteboards, and they're really lovely whiteboards. I've actually lost my sample because they're in such high demand that it was taken from my hands because everyone is trying to get their hands on them. But it's a lovely, thick, high quality whiteboard, really useful to use with the program. And there is a free class set for the first 500 schools to adopt Maths My Way. I think we're probably getting close to that number now. So if you're thinking of adopting it, make sure you get in touch with your local rep. Tell them you're in for Maths My Way so that you can get your name in for the last couple of those whiteboards that are available. Okay, so on to the Q&A. I'm just going to move my screen across here and get up my list of questions because I have some bits and pieces for Patrick and Elaine, some of which I have answered as we've gone through. So I might recap on a couple of key things. But I'm going to start with just a question for you, Elaine, which this comes up anytime we've done a webinar, anytime we're chatting about the programme. So you'll know this one. It's about a decision to go up to 10 in junior infants and up to 20 in senior infants. If you want to elaborate on that one, Elaine.
Yeah, it was something that we discussed at length in terms of the infant programme, and we were completely guided by the learning outcomes on the primary mathematical curriculum. And I suppose what we've done is junior infants do look at numbers 1 to 10. And then what happens with senior infants then is you are going from September to December, if I'm correct, and you're going back all over the numbers 1 to 10 again, and you're really focusing on the numbers 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And what you're doing is really trying to consolidate those numbers and really give them a strong foundation. And then they do move on to numbers 11 to 20 in senior infants. But I think the key thing there is, yes, they're looking at the numbers, they are recognizing the numbers, they're learning to be able to count that amount of numbers, but they're not actually doing the operations with those numbers. And I think that is also aligned with the curriculum too, that it says in the curriculum they can do number bonds or up to between 2 and 10 or beyond. And of course, that's completely where that word beyond is up to every class. And I suppose that's where we took our guidance from, is what was the learning outcome and what was the suggested pathway that the curriculum had outlined for us, and we really guided that. And we had really lots of discussions back and forth too, with lots of teachers really trying to think what was the best approach. And I know from being an infant teacher, 0 to 5, you always felt you had a bit of a ceiling there in those learnings. So we wanted to give that flexibility to the infant teachers that you can move on, but it really does come back down to a school as well, because we haven't specifically said, there's pages in the book that you're recognizing those numbers and you're looking at them in the slides. But as a school, you might say, well, actually, we want to do it this way, and that flexibility is there for you too, especially if you're going in from junior infants into senior infants with the programme.
Thanks, Elaine. Sorry, I while you were chatting there, I'm going through making sure I'm catching all the questions coming in. So apologies, I was slightly distracted. So I just want to cover off some of the other key things that have come up. Loads and loads and loads of people asking about the programme Ask Gaeilge. This comes up every single time we do a presentation as well. We would absolutely love to do it. I've said that in the chat. Cogger, the organisation, as I'm sure a lot of you know, that make sure that there are resources available for Gael schools and Gael Talk schools. We've already been in touch with them. I got straight onto them after our last webinar when we had so many requests saying, look, we'd love to work with them to do the translation. And they said it's absolutely something they would be looking into. So hopefully in the next year, that's something they'll do, and we can partner with them to get the programme out Ask Gaeilge. I know that some people have had technical difficulties this evening as well. So just to say, if there's anything you missed, you will get a recording tomorrow, and you will still get your yearbook sent out to you. So yearbooks will either be sent posted directly to you in the school, or your local rep will drop them into you, so that they will get to you. And don't worry if you had to log in on a different address or anything like that. Linda's been working away in the background there to make sure that we have everyone matched up and we know who you are, and you will get your yearbook. So just rest assured that will come to you as well. People have asked as well about whether there'll be regular updates to our games and digital resources on Folan's online. And yes, there absolutely will be. So we have a starter set coming out this year for everybody, but that's something we've really tried to do with our programs over the last couple of years, is continue to add to them based on what's working well for teachers and what they would like to see more of. So definitely will be continuing to develop the Maths My Way world over the next couple of years as well. Great comments about the planning, just to say that you will have a full range of planning available. I know Elaine touched on it there at the end of the presentation, but you'll have your unit plans, your fortnightly plans. There will also be yearly plans, and we'll do a whole school progression plan as well that shows how everything progresses from junior infants right up to second class, the kind of maths language that's covered, the models that are introduced, and so on. So great foundation for updating your whole school plans, which I know a lot of people are facing into now with the new curriculum. And all of our planning is downloadable and editable, so that you can use it to copy and paste from as you need to. And you will get your unit plans in a hard copy version as well, so nice and handy for you to refer to. We did get a lot of questions in about multigrade as well. So just Patrick, because I haven't had a chance to send the question your way, and I know the multigrade one is a very difficult one. But I know during the presentation you did mention about the alignment of topics, so you might just elaborate on that a little bit. Particularly, we're talking about first and second class and looking ahead to third to sixth class.
Yeah. So like I went to a multigrade class myself when I was in primary school, so I know what it's like in, like, we were a 4-teacher school, so first and second class were together. So we were very conscious of trying to make it as multigrade friendly as possible, and that's why we decided to align the topics together, so that when you're covering one topic with first class, it's also there with second class as well, so that it makes whole class opportunities for a whole class teaching, as well as then some content just for first class and some just for second class. And yeah. So for those bands, and we're continuing to do that with the senior end to really to support our colleagues who work in multigrade, because we know how the extra challenges that adds for you.
Thanks, Patrick. And I know that someone in particular asked about, they have first, second and third class, which I know is a very challenging group to have. So just say Patrick and I have spent a lot of time in the last couple of months working on the plan for third to sixth class and how everything will line up. And naturally there will be differences, because, you know, in third class you've got multiplication and division coming into play, for example. So units have to be dedicated to multiplication and division. But the topics that align well, so the likes of shape and space, your data, your measures, they all are still aligned right the way up through third and sixth class. So first right up to sixth, they will occur around the same time, and that consideration has been given to those topics. So wherever we can, even if you're in a first, second, third mix, you will find alignment in the program, and as challenging as that can be, you'll definitely find something there for you. I'm conscious of the time, so I know people might need to go. You will get your recording tomorrow, so if anyone needs to drop off, you know, you can catch up on this last few minutes tomorrow and on the recording if you need to. But I just wanted to touch on pricing, because that was something else that came up a bit. I know people, you know, trying to make book list decisions. You got your grant money has been coming in, and unfortunately it is lower this year than it was last year. So I know that's something that's on people's minds. So I just wanted to let you know, in terms of the digital versus the print, there are prices against the digital. It is, let me just make sure now I say the right thing on the pricing. I did put this into the chat earlier on as well. But we do have prices. Of course, I had them open now and I'm trying to find the list. Against the digital. So it's 150 per year per classroom for first and second class, and I think it's 220 per year per classroom for infants. But if you are buying the books, the digital comes free. So that is something that's just really important to remember. A lot of people are still buying books every year. I know for junior, if it's the second class, that digital, you get all that value of the digital comes with the program once you are buying the books. So that's just very important to bear in mind. But I know for some infant classrooms, they are thinking about going digital only. They're not using books anymore. So there is that digital only option there for you as well. But if you are buying the books, you do get all that digital, comes complimentary with the program. So there's just something to bear in mind. And the other thing I would really encourage people to do is reach out to their local sales rep if they're thinking about putting the program on the book list, because they can kind of craft that pricing package for your school as suits your individual circumstances. So it's really worth a conversation with them if you're thinking about going for Maths My Way. I think I've caught everything there. If there's anything that we didn't catch, I can follow up with people tomorrow. We'll go back through the chat, just make sure we've covered everything off. And please do feel free to reach out to us at any stage with questions, again, via your sales rep, or you can contact customer service here and they'll pass questions on to me. And I can obviously check in with Patrick and Elaine as well. And again, and I see some questions coming in there about pricing and costs. Again, just do get in touch with your sales rep. They are the best person to talk to about all of that, or get onto our website as well, where you can get your price list there as well. Thank you all very much. I feel I've spoken enough and everyone probably wants to get on with their evening. So listen, thank you for tuning in tonight. And I really hope anyone who uses the program that you enjoy it, you enjoy using it as much as we've enjoyed working on it. Thank you.